Tittle, The Psychology of Beauty, Why We See Beauty Differently. What makes something beautiful? Is beauty a universal truth? Or is it simply a story our minds create? Welcome to today's episode of Naked Philosophy, where we strip away assumptions and explore the hidden psychology behind the human experience. Beauty surrounds us every day. We admire a sunset, a painting, a face, a flower, or even an old tree shaped by time. Yet if you ask 10 different people what they find beautiful, you'll likely hear 10 different answers. Why? Because beauty is not just something we see. It is something we experience. Scientists have long debated whether beauty is objective or subjective. Some features appear to be appreciated across many cultures. Symmetry, balance, harmony, and certain proportions often catch our attention. Our brains seem naturally drawn to patterns that suggest health, stability, and order. But biology is only part of the story. Culture quietly reshapes our definition of beauty. Centuries ago, fuller bodies were considered symbols of wealth and health. In other eras, thinness became fashionable. Some cultures value pale skin, while others admire deeply tanned complexions. Hairstyles, clothing, body shapes, even facial features rise and fall with changing trends. If beauty were fixed, these standards would never change. Yet they constantly do. This reveals something important. Much of what we call beauty is learned. From childhood, we absorb countless images. Advertisements, movies, fashion magazines, television, social media. Without realizing it, our brains begin collecting examples of what society tells us is attractive. Eventually, those repeated images start feeling normal. Psychologists call this the mere exposure effect. The more often we see something, the more familiar and often more appealing it becomes. In other words, familiarity can shape beauty. But beauty goes deeper than appearance. Think about someone you love deeply. To others, they may appear ordinary. To you, they become extraordinary. Why? Because emotion changes perception. Our memories, relationships, and experiences influence what we find beautiful. A wrinkle may remind one person of aging. To another, it represents a lifetime of wisdom. A scar may appear imperfect. Or it may tell a story of courage and survival. Beauty often lives inside meaning. This explains why two people can stand before the same painting and feel completely different emotions. One walks away unmoved. The other is brought to tears. The artwork has not changed. The viewers have. Our brains never simply record reality. They interpret it. Neuroscientists have discovered that when people experience beauty, several regions of the brain become active simultaneously. Areas involved in emotion, memory, reward, and decision-making all begin communicating with one another. Beauty is not processed like mathematics. It is felt. Perhaps that is why beauty can surprise us. Sometimes we find beauty in unexpected places. An abandoned building covered in vines. A withered pair of hands. Rain falling against a window. Silence after a storm. These moments don't fit traditional standards of attractiveness. Yet they move us deeply. Artists have understood this for centuries. Many great works of art avoid perfect faces or ideal bodies. Instead, they reveal authentic emotion. Joy. Loss. Hope. Loneliness. Because genuine human experience often feels more beautiful than flawless appearance. Modern society, however, often encourages a different message. We are surrounded by carefully edited photographs. Filters smooth skin. Apps reshape faces. Artificial perfection has become increasingly common. Ironically, the more perfect these images become, the less human they often feel. Perfection can be impressive. But authenticity creates connection. Psychologists call this the beauty of imperfection. Small imperfections make people appear real. Approachable. Trustworthy. Human. Perhaps this explains why many memorable faces are not perfectly symmetrical. They possess character. And character creates identity. Beauty also changes with time. The things that impressed us as teenagers may no longer impress us decades later. As we mature, many people begin appreciating qualities that cannot be photographed. Kindness. Wisdom. Humility. Compassion. Resilience. These forms of beauty grow stronger with age rather than weaker. Maybe true beauty has never been about appearance alone. Maybe beauty is the feeling created when something reflects truth. A genuine smile. An honest conversation. A painting filled with emotion. A piece of music that gives us chills. A person who remains kind despite hardship. These moments remind us that beauty is not simply something our eyes discover. It is something our minds recognize. And our hearts remember. So perhaps the real question is not, what is beautiful? But rather, what allows us to see beauty at all? Because when we change the way we look at the world itself begins to change. Thank you for joining me for this episode of Naked Philosophy. If this conversation made you see beauty from a different perspective, subscribe and join us next time as we continue exploring the hidden psychology of being human, one idea at a time.